Hello there. It's me. It's me. It's PLD.
And I'm Richard-Erik Jarvi.
And I'm Matty, and this is Class Action.
The classiest movie show on the interwebs.
Are you happy, Jarvi? Are you happy?
Yes, so happy. PLD fucked it up big time last week.
I know. I was watching while I was on vacation in not so sunny California, which was kind of surprising. But I was like, all right, I'm here in the house. I got the house to myself. Let me chill and watch the boys. And then the intro came on, and I was like, oh, Paul.
We missed you. We missed you, Matty. That's what it was. Only for the intro.
It was almost. I'd say it was worse than me messing up the votes. It was worse.
Oh, come on now.
Strong.
No, because it's how you finish. It's never how you start, it's how you finish. And
you owe James one an apology for that.
I mean,
you finished poorly, Jarvi. You finished poorly. But that's
okay. It's all about the pregame.
I give you is that what it is? Well, what's up, everybody? Good to see you guys here back. You can tell by the thumbnail we are continuing our little alien journey at this point. We did this once before with some things. I just want to say hi, Reefisms in the chat, Christos in the chat. Good to see you guys. Last week was a great iconic battle between two films that are considered two of the best of their genres. I mean, one of the best horror films of all time, one of the best sci-fi action films of all time, and they're both a little bit of everything, a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of horror, a little bit of action.
So what's this week then? Because if that was an iconic battle, what's
this? Is the less than iconic battle.
The cannon fodder?
The follow-ups, as they were, the disappointments to some people, as we were. But we're going to talk about maybe they aren't as disappointing as some people want to admit they are, or want to say they are.
If you're watching PJ Campbell.
PJ Campbell definitely has his opinion on this.
I got to say, I was so excited to watch Alien Resurrection. I hadn't seen that, I don't think, ever.
Oh, really?
I was really excited because the trailer looked pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I'll be honest, the trailer was awesome.
Oh, I have a long time have been an Alien 3 supporter. I've always thought that Alien 3 was overhated. I get why. I understand the reasons why, but I do think primarily its biggest sin is that it's not Alien or Aliens. It's like not one of the most iconic movies of all time. That's its biggest sin. I think it's a very fine sci-fi action horror show, but we'll get into that.
When I was talking to a friend of mine about doing this matchup, he said that Alien 3 is an underrated masterpiece.
I don't know if that goes so far as to say masterpiece, but it is very underrated.
He used the word masterpiece, so I hope he's watching, because this is going to get very interesting. I watched Alien Resurrection for the very first time in preparation for this.
That's funny.
It was like my first watch. Never seen it. And can I just say, I was 1 year old when Alien 3 came out.
Okay.
Came out in 92.
God,
I was 1 year old.
You're young. You guys were both youngins. I was in high school, so that shows you. You guys are just babes in the woods. I am grandpa here. Got me my walker. But let's welcome you to the show. Welcome to the channel. If you haven't been to this channel before, obviously, PLD Products, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, leave comments. Same on the Spotify. You want to hear this one for a long time on Spotify, because I'm still kind of catching up with the old Class Action on Spotify, with our version of Class Action on Spotify. But if you're there, subscribe, leave a comment there too. It helps with everything. Helps us move forward as we are. We are moving forward in subscribers. We're on that train to 500. That's our goal so far. We're up to about 314, somewhere around there, maybe 315, which is good to say. We've made some definite improvements there. And one big thing about this show specifically, Class Action, if you're a fan of this show, and you don't maybe just came onto it from its era on PLD projects, when you hear us mention it every once in a while, we had an older version of this show on Action Industries, the home of Ben Bateman and Andrew Guy. It was just basically myself and Jarvi at that point, pre-Gunner, although he did make a few appearances here and there. But now, as of last night, the entire catalog of Class Action, as we call it here, Case Closed, Class Action Retro, Class Action Volume 1, is also on this channel. It's not, I put up its unlisted videos, so just because I don't want to, it's kind of a weird thing with the algorithm. I didn't want to put these forward as public videos kind of thing, just thrown out there. But there is a playlist you can find that is public. If you find that playlist, you can watch any of the old episodes. If you look for me up on Twitter at Paul DiNuzzo, I put a whole list of the episode guides and some of the guests we had, and it made me kind of nostalgic. So looking back at some of those, we had a good time there. I'm not going to lie, we had a great time there. And where we are today, the next generation, as you were. Also want to say hi to Kelly in the chat, but that is neither here nor there. We are here to discuss, as we said before, Alien 3 versus Alien Resurrection. We're to put these two up against each other in a battle to the death in the courtroom, so to speak. We have 5 custom-made categories, and I'll even list them out right now. We got better Xenomorph, better Ripley, better crew, better premise / tone, and better rewatch. If they sound familiar, it is the exact same categories from last week, because we figured, what the fuck? Well, I mean, we're doing the 2 movies that are in the same series. We might as well just keep the same categories. So that's what
only fair.
It is only fair. So that's what we do, and we have a good time doing it. We just talked about before how we all came into this. I had obviously seen Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection prior, so these were revisits for me. I'm kind of curious if that's going to make a difference. I really almost wish I had watched these for the first time just to get these from your perspective. But we are good to go there. Let's move on to our first game that we play. We've been threatening to change this, but we kind of never seem to get around to doing it.
In the new year, we'll get around to it in the new year. Let's close out with it how it is. I'm not ready to let go yet. I'm like Rose hanging on to Jack on the door. Speaking of James Cameron movies. I'm holding on. I'm like, don't let go, Ed.
Don't let go, Ed. There's room for you on this door. What would Ed Harris play, of course? Where we take Ed Harris's, the great Ed Harris, one of the greatest character actors of all time, the greatest character actor of all time, in my opinion, and we put them in a movie because he is one of those guys. If you put them in a movie, it automatically makes the movie better. And these 2 films, for example, honestly have great casts. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of good actors in these roles. But how can Ed Harris make it better? You can either recast someone in the film or, as I sometimes like to do and have fun doing, write new roles for them and see how that might change the dynamic of the movie. But let's get into it right away. I'm going to start with Richard-Erik Jarvi. Alien 3, where are you putting Ed Harris and how are you making the movie better?
So, again, since I prepared it this week, I'm not too proud of it. I feel like I'm kind of slacking on the part. You guys make up new sort of roles from week to week, and I'm kind of keep going to the recast. But anyway, my Ed Harris for Alien 3 is I would recast Lance Henriksen and have him come in as Wayland at the very end right there. Because I feel like I think I recast Ed Harris the previous week. I think I had Ed Harris as an android who didn't know he was an android. Right. So it sort of feels like it should be like a continuous thing going on for this week. So yeah, I think it was one of the coolest reveals because I don't remember it at all. The Alien 3 reveal that like Lance Henriksen actually showed up. I saw him in the credits. I was like, okay, but he only voiced it. He didn't appear. He was just like a fucked up robot right there.
Right.
And then he finally appeared, and I was like, okay, that was a cool fucking reveal. So who else could do it even better than Lance Henriksen? It's Ed Harris.
Fucking Harris. That's who. Kelly, yes, I do. It's not replacing. It's like Matty says here, it is upgrading. We are not replacing Ed Harris. We just kind of have a recast involving, I think our pitch was we're going to have a wheel of character actors to use, and we're going to have to spin it. Ed Harris will be on that wheel, of course, so we never get fully away from Ed Harris, but we're going to try to add some other people into it as well. The Bruce Greenwoods, the Nicolas Cages, maybe, things of that nature. Might actually have a wheel of what film we're going to do it, or maybe we'll do a character thing. I don't know. There's a lot we can talk about.
In that sense, it's going to be sort of like the Public Defender, because if we spin the wheel, we can't prepare it.
Right. You got to come up with it on the spot. That's what I like. So, and Jerry B, absolutely, Jerry B would be on the wheel at some point, absolutely,
for sure.
And we might have, like I said, we might have two wheels. We might have like a role to replace. We might have to start with who do you want to replace that role instead of doing the actor. Well, maybe one week we'll do like a spin the wheel and pick a role in one of the films, and that's who we're going to have to replace. We could come up with something off the cuff as who would we want to recast in that role, kind of thing, which would be fun. Rufism saying Ed Harris is the warden in Alien 3.
Thought of that.
Thought about it.
I thought about that one as well. I actually did think about Jarvis, and Jarvis was one of my choices. I decided
Jarvis was my choice.
I could tell. Yeah. I could tell from Matty's reaction.
Jarvis was my choice, and it was solely because I feel bad for Lance Henriksen having to come back for Alien 3, and I feel like if it had come back, say I'm gonna play a little bit of both here, I'm gonna recast and create a new role. Is if like we thought it was Lance Henriksen as Wayland the whole time. But then Sully and Alien 3, it turns out it wasn't. It was Ed Harris.
Okay. I like that.
It was all a front. It was the android. Like, it was all a front. Ed Harris was really the big bad.
Yep. I do like that. I gotta like that. Okay. All right. Okay. We'll go with mine then. I did consider Michael Bishop Wayland, as he's definitely, that's what he's known as the later on version of her, the human version. I also did think of the Warden, although I kind of got off the Warden because the Warden's not meaty enough for me for Ed Harris. I don't think he could have added a whole lot to it. So I went with the kind of different version of what you guys are talking about. For me, Ed Harris is that guy walking in at the end. He does replace Lance Hendrickson, but is a different character. I'm having Ed Harris. And I'm gonna wait, let me cut back. There's a line that he says about why they sent him, because they wanted Ripley to see a friendly face, someone they trusted.
Oh, no, you're not doing what I think you're doing.
Ed Harris is General.
God,
Brigadier General.
damn it.
Francis X. Hicks.
No,
brother to Corporal
why did I not
Hicks.
see this one coming?
The brother to Corporal Hicks. Because he's Michael B's brother. He comes and he talks to Ripley and says, basically, we're up here, you're down here. We need that alien in your stomach. but we wanted to have you a familiar friend. So I am his brother. I want that I want what's best for you, and you're my brother. You love my brother. It's a great time. Like, it's a way he could have made it work. It would have been intense, and he would have gotten that fucking alien out of Ripley's stomach. That's for sure. Lance Armstrong would have, but. That was my go-to.
We've been doing this for like a year now, and I did not see this coming, even though we do this every week.
I'll be honest. I thought he was going to go with Ripley's dad. I thought you were going to pull the I am your father.
I definitely actually did consider that too. But I wanted to hook it up. The idea that he was Michael Bihn's brother just was too...
Ed Harris and Michael Biehn in the same movie? Has that happened before?
Yeah, well, The Rock.
Oh, yeah.
And the Abyss.
That was the point.
And the Abyss as well.
Oh, yeah, the Abyss as well. Shit. That's true. So has Sigourney Weaver and Ed Harris been in a movie together?
How did I forget Michael?
That does not. I don't believe Sigourney Weaver has. When I think about it, I'm trying to think from Sigourney Weaver's angle. I don't believe so.
Fan fiction.
We all do, Kelly. We all do. Yeah.
I'll have to get there. So I have these great ideas. I'm definitely an idea guy, not a
execution guy.
Yeah, when I execute it, it doesn't really come off nearly as well as it should. But oh well, what he didn't do. All right, there we go. How about that? Let's move on to Alien Resurrection. Jarvi, what do you have for Resurrection now?
I think Matty wants to go first. Matty, go first.
Can I go first?
Absolutely.
Because I've been
we have the same one.
I've been dying to say this for a while. Okay. As much as I love Sons of Anarchy, get Ron Perlman the fuck out of here.
Oh, wow. I can't get Perlman out of there, but that's okay.
I feel like Ed Harris could have done that role a million times better than Ron Perlman did.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. I mean, Ed Harris does every role better, but like, wow. So you weren't a big fan of Ron Perlman, sounds like.
Not in this.
Okay.
I loved him in Hellboy. Hell, I loved Hellboy Golden Army.
Okay.
Like I'm a defender.
You should replace the director with Guillermo del Toro. Then you could keep Ron Perlman, and then he would deliver an awesome performance.
Then he probably would have delivered. He didn't deliver. So get him out of there. Bring Ed Harris back in.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Jarvi, it seems like you did not have the same one, so I'm kind of curious where you went.
No. So I tried to think of a role that's very much not up his alley. And I actually enjoy the performance, but I would have Ed Harris as Vreese, the wheelchair guy.
Oh,
I feel like you could see more of a squirmy, funny, weird sort of a hits on Winona Ryder, kind of a sleaze bag, but also kind of a hero because he ends up coming through.
He does
at the end, and he has a pretty awesome action scene also when he's hanging from the wheelchair, like trying to get up there.
Yeah,
I could
just
totally.
I could literally turn down to the alien and say, "We're up here, you're down there."
Oh,
literally at that point. Okay, fair enough. I went with the recast on this one. I considered briefly having him be Michael Wincott because I love Michael Wincott as Frank Elgin. Michael Wincott's a very underrated supporting actor.
He's awesome.
He's in like that Ed Harris genre for me, just like a little bit just further down. That's all. But like I seen, like I love him in The Crow. I love him in the Count of Monte Cristo, which is what's that Monte Cristo movie? Guys,
Monte Cristo.
Is it just the Count of Monte Cristo?
Yeah,
I think it's the Count of Monte Cristo, or just Monte Cristo.
It is the Count of Monte Cristo.
It is the Count of Monte Cristo. Okay, for some reason I thought it had a weird updated title or something.
Good sound.
He was also in Metro with Eddie Murphy.
Yes, he was. I do remember that.
I actually secretly like that movie.
I like Metro. I like Metro pretty well. I haven't watched. I watched it in movie theaters and have not watched it since.
Michael Rappaport in there.
That's
pretty cool.
The sports commentator guy.
No, not. What did I say? Michael. What's the Rappaport?
No, it is Michael Rappaport. I know what you're talking about. It's
I only ever see that guy talk about like sports. Well,
stuff. He's now doing just like weird stuff on social, like he's just commenting on stuff. He's sort of doing reactions and sort of he has
been using a lot of movies. Higher Learning, True Romance, using The Sixth Day.
Oh yeah,
Boston Public for a bit. Yeah, Justified. He had a role in Justified. Yeah, I actually like him. He's quite a good guy. Yeah, you see him on Collider. You see him with the schmoes every once in a while, a few times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I like that. Okay, let's move on then to my pick for Alien Resurrection. Like I said, I was going to think about Wing Cop, but I decided against it. This might be a lazy pick, but I will say there's a big reason why I decided to do that.
Ripley?
No, it's not Ripley. It's not a lazy pick. I said lazy. That would have
made it better.
That would have been. Wow. Okay. How
dare you, sir?
The problem I have with Alien Resurrection.
We'll get there.
One of the main problems I have with Alien Resurrection is that, and we are going to get here too. Obviously, one of the categories, they kind of did this whole thing where they tried to make it partially a dark comedy, almost in a way, which they had these like attempts to make it a comedy, and that's what made it fall.
But they didn't commit.
They didn't commit at all, and they shouldn't have committed. Though it's not the right film series for this, especially
real quick.
Especially in the. This isn't like a
stick with the recast, Fieldy. Stick with the recast.
I am okay. Recast being is I'm gonna put Ed Harris in the role of, to course correct the comedy bits. Put him in the role of General Perez, because Dan Hedaya is not Dan Hedaya. He's the main guy, the head of the Ariga, the commanding general of the Ariga.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Dan Hedaya is a comedy kind of role. He's not somebody I can't take him seriously as a military general. Does not have that same intensity at all needed. So, but part of the reason why they had him in there was because of that tone, I think. And I think putting Ed Harris in there helps correct that tone. We get this movie to be a better movie overall for many reasons, even just beyond putting Ed Harris in there, just fixes a lot of the problems at its core. So that's where I have to slide Harrison.
He would have made Ed Harris would have made the movie. Him just alone would have put the movie in the middle category, ridiculous, legitimate.
Right, which is what.
Although the movie is completely ridiculous,
it is completely ridiculous.
But he could have done it.
That's part of the problem I have with Alien Resurrection, but we'll get there, I guess. And Matty's warming up. He's got the Henry Cavill and Mission Impossible Fallout kind of arms going. He's loading those arms up.
Yeah.
But all right, you know what? Let's get right into it then. We've moved past. Let's get right into the meat. Like I said, better Xenomorph, better Ripley, better crew, better premise and tone, and better rewatch. We'll start with better Xenomorph. Gunnar, go ahead. Let's hit it. Let's start with you because you're ready to go.
All right, boys. I've had this conversation with my friends many, many, many times. We look way too much as to what could be up in space, and that's scary about the space, as to like compared to what's in the water. These fucking xenomorphs can swim, dude. That's terrifying.
I love that.
No. That okay. Does the hybrid look like a cheaper version of Nemesis from Resident Evil Apocalypse? Little bit. But my point still stands that like when you get to there's the bit with the escape pods as well, where that one sneaky fucker like sneaks into the escape pod as it jettisons, shows these fuckers are getting smarter and they can swim. You are literally nowhere is safe. Not even the water, not in the water, not if you try to do the cocaine bear and you hide up a tree. Like it's just they're terrifying. Whereas in Alien 3, it's like, okay, cool, they got some cool kills, but they're the same fucking xenomorphs that I saw in the last two movies.
All right. All right.
In Resurrection, it shows they're learning and they're adapting, and you don't want that.
You are all right. You are very strong-willed on this one. I'll give it to you on that.
Yep.
I will follow up, Jarvi, if you don't mind. I will say that to me, Alien 3, one of the least parts about it is its xenomorph. It seems like they do a very over-reliance on more CGI type stuff. A lot of times,
horrible CGI.
Right, and I was taken out of it all the time. I was taken out of it. Whereas Resurrection, they did a lot of practical effects. There's a lot of real alien shit going on there. I will say there's a little too much drool for me. I just got distracted.
You didn't like that?
I got distracted by that. I was like, God, that's
I thought
a lot
it was
of
awesome.
Saliva.
Just
I mean, that's like he is all saliva. This alien is all
hungry,
saliva. I get it, but it did distract me a little bit. But I do like this. I like the different versions they have with different tastes. I like to get the hybrid. They're different, cooler designs. The hybrid was a little freaky. Not gonna lie. It is like Nemesis a little bit. I get that. But it was a very free. I actually felt bad for the hybrid when it gets thrown out of the square there. I did feel bad. I'm not gonna lie. Enough that I like the different versions of we got in Resurrection. They felt physical. They felt more terrifying. The dragon in Alien 3 just felt a little fake, a little video gamey to me. So it didn't quite have the same effect, unfortunately.
Dragon.
So
I like that reference.
I will give this to Resurrection. Jarvi, it sounded like you were leaning the same way.
Oh, I'm definitely in the same camp. This was exactly the weakest point about Alien 3 is the fact that the CG, like they had the practical whatever doll thingy there. I understand they needed the CGI to make sort of the running scenes and the jumping. You can't do that with a practical doll. But it was, I know at the time it probably looked great, but it's it didn't age well. No. And Matty said it, like when they get in the fucking water, it's like freaking sharks in there. Yeah. They're moving around, like you can tell
from
that
Alien to Jaws, dude.
Exactly. Or I got Deep Blue Sea vibes there because they were going through the kitchen, like under the water, and the sharks were coming in. Mike Rappaport came. I think that was he got actually killed in that scene.
That's right.
And the way that they sort of like they were like water was just another element for them to kill him.
Yeah,
it was seamless, and they like it really made you think that this is the perfect killer, the perfect sort of organism. So yeah, definitely Resurrection for this one. And I also enjoyed the fact that Resurrection had sort of the lips on the alien.
Yeah.
So I don't know, the way that the mouth came out. So I'd say Alien Resurrection has probably the best xenomorph of all.
Ooh, that's
because Prometheus and Covenant, they're almost completely CGI. Resurrection was like at the peak end of the practical effects, and they freaking nailed it.
Perhaps. I don't know if I could say I like it better than the Aliens ones, but I don't.
I mean, just technically, like visually and technically, the xenomorph. Because I gotta say, like horror-wise, I still prefer Aliens and Alien, but just when you take the sort of puppetry and the visual effects, I think Alien Resurrection did the best job.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
I can hear off in the far distance PJ changing his calendar, his days I was mad at Jarvi calendar back down to 0.
0 days since the last incident. Okay, fair enough. All right, well, let's move on then to Better Ripley. Better Ripley.
Oh.
Okay, I'll rip the Band-Aid off of this one.
Go for it.
I like Sigourney Weaver. I love Sigourney Weaver. I think she's a fine actress. I think I even appreciate what they were going for in Resurrection.
Oh, don't do it, Paul. Don't do it.
I kind of like it was on the paper, but she did what was told to her. But what the fuck?
She's the exec producer of the movie.
She's like, what the fuck is up with Ripley in Alien Resurrection? I mean, there's a whole production story about how she wanted to make Ripley this and the better character, a warrior, and it's just like the whole fucking basketball sequence.
I love that sequence.
I like it. I love it.
Funny.
I love it, but I don't love it. Like, I love it if you take that as it's out of the movie, but in the context of everything else going on, I'm like, this is not fucking Ripley. Dunks the ball. She has like the arms around Perlman playing them. I'm like, you are trying to look badass. They are trying to make Ripley look badass instead of just having her be a badass.
It's the Top Gun volleyball scene, but in Alien.
But she is She's not topless. That doesn't work. But she.
Wow.
Just,
actually,
there
is topless in Resurrection.
There is a topless scene in Resurrection. Not quite the topless scene you're looking for at the end of Resurrection there. But I don't like what she does in this. It just feels fake. It feels false. It feels like, because I just feel like it's trying too hard to make Ripley a badass when Ripley already was a badass. You didn't need to make this whole like alien vibe, genetic thing going on, the clone thing. I just wasn't a fan. Alien 3, on the other hand, I actually really enjoy Ripley. I think it's a very much the right
bald.
Shall we say, well, it's the character seems like it's developed from Alien to Aliens to Alien 3. It all makes sense. She's kind of like this broken but badass character in 3. Like, she's broken. She lost Newt, lost Hicks. Like, and I get that's an argument against the movie. A lot of people hated the fact that Hicks and Newt were gone, and I'm not a big fan of that either. I'm not gonna lie. I understand why they did it, but I didn't like it. But her handling of that worked really well. I felt her being broken. I felt her being this like devoid of life almost, in a way. She was almost like an empty shell at that point, but yet she still knew her role was to be a badass who had to like destroy the alien. So I really liked her performance in the movie, if I didn't agree with everything that led up to that performance, if that makes sense, which is exactly goes against exactly what Alien Resurrection is to me. So I don't know. I'll leave it right there. Go ahead. Matty, why don't you go ahead and
you want me to go? You really want me to go second with this?
All right, I'll let Jarvi go second.
Yeah, I think Jarvi can lay me up here. I think he's got it in him.
All right, go ahead, Jarvi.
I don't think I have a lot more to add on Resurrection. I think the one thing you could say about Ripley in Resurrection is the fact that she looked awesome appearance-wise. She sort of had that, late 90s action movie look. You sort of believe that she was like this powerful being now, but like that's not Ripley. Ripley is like we talked on our last week's show. Ripley's like her heroicness is earned throughout the movies. Here she's just freaking born as a clone. She's got all these powers. She's got a psychic connection. She fucking cuddles the alien. This was so ridiculous. This was absurd. It just didn't work. And
in other words, what the fuck?
What the fuck? Completely. Go ahead, Matty. You want to interject?
Real quick, Matty. I'll let you go out in a second. I'll let you key up a little more. Just want to say in the chat, Reefism, she actually made the shot live from the basketball sequence. I did know that.
Thought of that.
I did know that. It did happen live. I did say that. So I'll give her props.
I thought it was a case they filmed her throwing it and they had like an NBA player like on the backdrop.
All
right, Matty. Tell us why we're supposedly wrong. Because
here's why you're supposedly wrong. Joe, go on.
Do you want me to finish, or do you want Matty to
go?
Oh,
sorry, I didn't know you. I didn't know you.
Oh, I thought you were. I thought you were.
Well, I just badmouthed Resurrection. I wanted to say why I'm picking Alien 3.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But you kind of started it there, and she's extremely broken down as a character now. Now, way more than in Aliens, which already had like a pretty tragic backstory for her. So, and in every scene that she's in, she's the bleakest of Ripley's that we've seen, and I think that is a very cool character choice, and sort of, I got a lot of Terminator vibes when it got to Ripley in Alien 3. And yeah, the bald look, it worked. That was cool.
You like the ball, right? I did like that. That's a better basketball in the basketball scene. Go ahead, Matty. Tell us why we're supposedly wrong.
So I'm going to start with love. I'm going to start with love, as my therapist always tells me to do. I really like as Jarvi put it very eloquently, the hero's journey that Ripley goes through. Ripley is an iconic character with an iconic hero's journey. It gets to the point where at the end of Alien 3, she sacrifices. She does the exact this whole arc of movies. She's been trying to stay alive, and then at the end of it, she's just like, "No, you're not going to get this. You're not going to get this out of me. I'm going to take my own life, so you can't have this."
Powerful.
But then they Palpatine the motherfucker. Somehow Ripley returned. And then how do you do that? You bring her back.
It's cloning dark magic.
Cloning and dark magic. They Palpatined Ripley before it was cool. So for that instance alone, because it's like, what can you do different? Like, not only do you bring her back, how can you do the character different? Because we've seen that she's had this hero's journey. They've capped it off. What do you do? Go on from there. You bring her back as a clone. back then, who would have thought of doing that? Now it's just like, oh, bring her back as a clone. Oh, it was all a dream, blah, 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 blah. But back then, that was probably fairly innovative to do. So I'm giving it to Resurrections solely because they thought they came up with the Palpatine trope before Star Wars did, and that gets a notch off my cap.
You know, on paper, without actually seeing the execution of Resurrection, that sounds weird. Execution of a resurrection. Anyway, the fact that the script-wise, if I was reading the Resurrection script, I'd be, this is like way more of a ridiculous, absurd tone. But I like how out there it is. The fact that she's a clone, the fact that she has powers, but the execution was just so
poor.
Shite.
Piss poor.
Yeah. I get
right.
Matty's point in a way. Like the idea is cool. The idea is there.
Well, I will also give it credit in terms of the fact that like they were stuck in between a rock and a hard place. If they were going to move on with Ripley, then they had to have something. They had to bring her back somehow. They couldn't. It was pretty. I haven't seen too many more definitive deaths of that. If you show into a fucking pile of lava and like was never seen like. We didn't need to see. We saw the body basically disintegrate, so that was kind of hard without rebooting it and retconning it 3. So clone was probably the easiest way to do it, especially given how much in the future, far in the future we are. But at the same time, again, I can't blame them for having to do what they did. I just don't like the outcome of how it happened. And the idea is like
you to say I can
the
tell.
character choice by Sigourney Weaver. Or the director, that's where it all fell apart, like tremendously.
I'm trying to say, well, I also feel like the whole idea, like including the alien genetics, like how it affected her or whatever, how they gave her made her this hybrid kind of character. To me, also felt like they were trying too hard with it. Like they couldn't just leave it off alone with the clone aspect of it. They also had to. Like, we have to do something different. We have to tweak it, a bigger twist, even. Because I feel like I know part of the idea was first of all, I don't quite understand how it really worked. They clone her, but the alien gets cloned with her as part. Like that, does that even work theoretically?
No, I think she birthed the clone and she survived the sort of the burst. No, they sort of healed her.
No, I mean like when they clone her, do they put the alien inside her, or does the alien inside?
I think so.
So I kind of like it's been a while. So I watched it. But I got distracted.
Actually, I was thinking about the same thing. Like, what was the idea? What was the point
how's the
of
alien
cloning her?
There? Right.
Yeah. I think they operated or they got it out of her, but they managed to save her and they kept her around because she had the psychic ability.
Why? What was it? Why? How was the alien in her to begin with? Like when you clone someone, like if you clone a pregnant woman, is she automatically?
I'm pretty sure they inseminated her with with.
That's what it was. Okay, that's what it was. All right, where do they get the alien from then? Theoretically. It just seemed like we're having questions about this entire.
I was drunk when I watched it. Don't ask me that.
It seems weird. I was a little distracted in the beginning when I was watching the beginning part. But
another thing I do like is it opens up the door for the alien predator hybrid. This whole talk about hybrid creatures, like for everyone who loves AVP, plus I fucking hate them. Like, that opened the door essentially because they were like, oh, we can do alien hybrids. Let's do it. What would happen if we put an alien hybrid with a predator?
I do like AVP, the original film. The original one is a fun enough sci-fi action movie. Alien vs. Predator Requiem just is a piece of shite. But okay, so we got through category 2. Interestingly enough, all right, very scared to see what Matty's. I'm very scared to see what Matty's going to come up with next. Better crew, Matty. I guess maybe I should start this when I haven't started one yet.
You keep starting, but go ahead.
All right. Did I start that? I can't remember. No,
that's all right. That's right. You go.
Better crew. This is a very difficult choice to make. Both of these, and by better crew, obviously, in terms of the film Alien, it was an easy definition. The crew of the ship. Aliens, we kind of included the Marines, but also included some of the other people as well, like Paul Reiser, etc. Better crew, and this is definitely, and these movies are a little bit different because Alien 3, you have the prisoners, but you also have the doctor, and you have also, they're all kind of count. Whereas Resurrection,
pretty much everyone else who's against the alien, who's not
right. Because I guess they do end up combining, I guess. So it is paying more. It's not because I'm a supporting actor kind of thing. But either way, both films have some phenomenal actors. I mean, Alien 3, you look down that list of Alien 3's actors, you got someone like Charles S. Dutton, Charles Dance, Paul McGann, the doctor himself from Doctor Who, You got Lance Henriksen making his return. Pete Postlethwaite is in this movie. There's a lot of cool actors in this, but Michael Biehn is only as a pitcher, unfortunately. But then you look at Resurrection, you got another list of some great actors. You have Brad Dourif, who I absolutely love, from
even when he's screwing the alien.
And Halloween, even when he's screwing the alien, he does no wrong in these films. Any of the film he's in, he commits to the bit entirely and makes me believe.
Oh, he committed.
He did commit. That's true. But we got Raymond Cruz. You got Winona Ryder. You got Ron Perlman, Michael Wincott. I mentioned before. A lot of great. Even Leland Orser, who's kind of like a secondary actor. He's more of a TV actor, but he's a phenomenal actor himself. As the guy Purvis, who was the guy who was kidnapped. Coming late in the storyline, so to speak. So both sets of films have great actors. The difference is partially because of Category 4. To be honest with you, Alien 3's crew is more believable and more. It's just a better overall performance is done. I like Wincott in Resurrection. Like I said, I love Brad Dourif and anything. Brad Dourif rises above the material in this for me. But at the end of the day, a couple of roles. There's 3 roles in Alien 3 that really seal the deal for me. Charles S. Dutton as the spiritual leader of the prisoners is such an interesting character to me. I love the fact that he's doesn't really care about Ripley per se, but he cares about his prisoners, his brothers, and everything else. But he has this religious.
Wait, Charles Dance?
Charles S. Dutton. I'm talking about Charles S. Dutton.
Oh, sorry.
He cares about his prisoners, his flock, as he is, as the religious leader. They don't make religion a bad thing at all in this movie. They actually make it a good thing as far as the thing goes. He's a very spiritual person. It actually feels right. It feels like an interesting character choice and gives him that little tweak to give him a little more background, to give him a little more depth in his character. Charles Dance, you mentioned. I love Charles Dance in this movie. I absolutely love Charles Dance in this movie. I think that I actually considered replacing Charles Dance with Ed Harris, but I couldn't do it because Charles Dance is just so
Don't
good.
You dare.
Exactly. The future of Game of Thrones.
Dare.
Charles Dance is. He has such sadness in him, such intensity in him, but he's so willing to believe. And I love the fact that the background makes it. Why does he believe Ripley so much? Because he was never believed, or nobody ever believed in him, so he chose to believe in Ripley, which is a great character choice. And I love how Ripley and him have this kind of pseudo relationship that never really gets to be committed, unfortunately, because aliens happens. But Charles Dance is really probably one of my. If I had to pick one out of both movies, he's my favorite supporting character of both movies at this point. One last thing I do want to throw in there, I love, and this is a PJ thing too. PJ would kill me if I didn't mention Paul McGann as a doctor.
He's going to kill me after this episode. So
I'm sure he will. But Paul McGann is a guy who deserves more love as well, and just movies in general. He does a great job doing the Doctor in his Doctor Who movie and his few other scenes he's done in Doctor Who. But as the crazy mass murderer guy, he does a great job of playing this role as a down-to-earth guy until he snaps. And when he snaps because of the alien, I'm all on board with what he's doing as well. So this to me was an easy choice overall after I sat down and thought about it. On the surface, I was like, these are both great, a bunch of great actors. But at the end of the day, Alien 3 definitely has an easy edge on me for just Charles Dance alone. Before we go on, I just want to say, good to see the director in the chat, Alan Smithing. Alien 3 has a guy who actually killed a dude in real life. Yes, I know. Rock did. Charles S. Dutton. Yes, he did actually. He did. He had a moment at one point. Because I'm also agreeing with Charles S. Dutton. Charles Dance in the Golden Child.
Golden Child. Yeah.
I forgot about that. I forgot he's in that. That's right. That and Last Action Hero. But either way, okay. Who wants it? Who wants it next for the better crew?
I do.
Go ahead, Jarvi.
I'm gonna start from the fact that the thing you mentioned about Charles Dance. I agree that he's the best character of both movies, and they killed him off so friggin' early.
Agreed.
That was a huge problem for me. I get it. I get a lot of characters. Almost all of the characters have to die at some point because it's an alien movie. But other than Charles Dance, and you mentioned all of these great actors, they're kind of dull characters. And I get it. It's the point. It's kind of the point what Fincher is trying to do here. He's sort of trying to make all of them look the same, act the same. They're religious, sort of. I got actually some of the vibes from Fight Club because it was sort of like these like mindless cult followers, sort of. So they, in a good way,
Yeah, I never thought of that.
I got the the point that David Fincher is trying to do, but at the end of the day, I can't really pinpoint any character and sort of their characteristics. The only one was Charles S. Dutton, and the other one was Charles Dance. Okay, Charles Dance. So I know Charles Dance as like the older villainous type. He was a handsome dude back in the day. Like, God damn, he looked good.
Yeah, he was.
He's one of these guys, like, he was handsome in his younger days, and then he just like became a silver fox.
And a complete like villainous look from then on.
Very chiseled.
And yep. And I think I'm giving this to Resurrection because I feel like the characters are way more colorful. They are much more fun, and I can tell you the aspects of each character that was there. I think the Winona Ryder reveal was kind of awesome. I had not seen the movie before, so that was like a revelation to me. The wheelchair guy, again, I think his character name was Reese. This is an awesome character. Brad Dourif, awesome freaking shit weasel, mad scientist. Ron Perlman, who Matty did not like. I very much enjoyed him. So each of the characters in Alien Resurrection, apart from Ripley, who was god-awful, but we're talking crew here, was, in my opinion, way better than in Alien 3. In Alien 3, they sort of all blended together.
Oh, you're breaking my heart.
Gotta go with Resurrection here.
Oh, you're breaking my heart. 27 does say it felt more like a traditional Alien crew in Resurrection. I can see that. I can agree with that. I felt it was like too much of a traditional crew, but that's okay. Matty, go ahead and break my heart even further. You guys are killing me over here.
I echo every single one of Jarvi's sentiments. I really do. But I was so pissed when they killed Hicks and New off screen. Like, God, like that annoyed me. That annoyed the shit out of me, and that got a reaction out of me because, like, I really like those two guys. And POD, you mentioned two actors that I absolutely adore, and I'm giving it to Alien 3 solely off of these two. Charles Dance, Pete Postlethwaite. You put those two in anything, you got my vote. Cool, done.
Oh God, okay.
I was so
made me feel better.
Like sad to see Pete Postlethwaite sort of wasted there.
And
also another great actor, I think he's a David Fincher sort of go-to guy, is Holt McCallany. He's he was in the crime series on Netflix. Like I'm blanking at the moment. Mindhunter, yeah. He was in the Fight Club also. He's quite consistently in David Fincher movies. Completely forgettable in this one. So kind of a shame.
Would you have liked the fact that they killed Charles Dance off early if they replaced him with Sean Bean?
Yeah, that would have worked. That would have worked very well.
That would have made a lot of sense. It's not a lie there. Wow. Okay, Matty, I'm actually happy to hear you say that. You're saving me a little bit. Don't
get too comfy. Don't get too comfy.
I'm not getting too comfy, but I'm happy to see a little bit of love there. All right, fair enough. All right, let's move on then to number 4 here. Number 4, better premise / tone. Okay. Jarvi, why don't you lead us off this time?
Okay. Again, I don't think that Alien 3 did very well with its premise. I get the idea, so I'm going to echo what I said about the characters. I get the idea. They try to make this a very bleak post-apocalyptic planet where everything's, I keep saying the word bleak because that movie is bleak to a fault. But as a viewer, like, I know what Dave Fincher was trying to do. That's the hard part. But that kind of checked me out of the movie. It was dragging a bit. It was too much of the same bleakness, the sort of deserty look of it. It was almost always indoors. So I kept looking at my phone. I was kind of checked out of the movie. Now, Alien Resurrection, fucking dumb, fucking ridiculous. But as a premise, as a freaking elevator pitch, it's way better. If someone came to me with a pitch, Alien 3, it's a religious cult in a prison somewhere. Okay, come on, yeah, okay, Ripley's bald, that's cool. But Resurrection, Ripley has a psychic connection.
That's good. That's cool.
That's kind of what the movie offered. Like, premise.
Can we get
my voice?
Ripley's bald on Paul real quick.
Ripley's bald. That's cool. That's what you get out of the pitch from Alien 3. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue.
Kinda. Alien Resurrection was freaking balls to the walls. It failed at everything it was trying to do. But premise, tone-wise, I think I had more fun watching Alien Resurrection than I did Alien 3 because Alien 3 was just too bleak and too long for its bleakness. I think Alien Resurrection took a lot of risks, and I like that, and that's why I'm giving this to Resurrection.
All right, Paul, how do you want this to go? You want to jump in and kind of cushion the fall, or do you want me to just fucking hit you over the head with the steel chair? Okay.
Chair away.
Alien 3 to me seems like, how do I put this nicely? Because I really don't want to upset Paul even more. It's trying to recapture the glory of the first one in a way, but it seems more, instead of recapping, it's rehashing. And it brings those horror vibes and those horror tropes that you want, and those are there. The tensions are there, but it, as Jarvi said, it kind of falls flat. I feel like if Resurrection wasn't an Alien movie, we would be talking about it in the same breath that we talk about, well, you guys talk about Moonfall, and that it's one of those.
But it is! It is an Alien movie. That's the problem. It is an Alien movie. It's the fourth film in the franchise. It's the fourth film in the fucking series. It's not like not a reboot where they try to do something different. You're trying to continue the story that was started with the greatest horror film of all time, followed by the greatest sci-fi action of all time, followed by, okay, I get you don't like it, but that's fine. It still stays in the same tone. And you have this fucking piece of shit film that decides it's going to be a fucking horror comedy with fucking testosterone-laced Ripley, who's a fucking insane piece, and he's got these fucking comedy lines happening with Dan Hedaya going, a fucking general, like a laugh a minute. This is fucking bullshit the whole time.
But look how passionate you are. That's more interesting. That's more interesting than
bullshit.
The boring bleakness of
Alien bullshit. 3. Plus, it has one of the best alien kill scenes ever, where like it goes through one dude's chest, and then it comes out another dude's forehead.
That would have been great.
That's pretty fucking
That is great. I like that. But it's in the wrong fucking movie because of the tone that's around the whole movie. It's couldn't know what the fuck it wants to be.
Okay. But tell me, you cannot look me in the eyes and tell me that if this, like, suspend your disbelief for a second. Tell me this, if this wasn't an Alien movie, say, okay, it's a movie about aliens, but it wasn't in this franchise. Tell me we wouldn't be looking at it as one of those dumb movies.
I would like it. I would like it. I completely agree with you. I would like it. But you can't divorce it from that in the premise and tone. You have a responsibility, a duty of care when you are continuing on a series to at least be in the same ballpark of the same tone.
This is Matty's category.
I will say, I'm gonna end this with a little bit of cushion for Alien 3. I think the score of Alien 3 did a lot better job of setting the tone that they tried to do than Alien Resurrection did. And I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Nah, that's. Oh yeah, and the aliens have orgies. That answered a question that I've been wondering for a while.
So Resurrection.
Resurrection. Just in case I didn't make that clear.
Son of a bitch. Look, I will brook an argument about Alien 3's bleakness. I will brook the argument that Alien 3 tries too hard to capture the tone of the first film. It obviously is a film that tries to go back, take away from sci-fi action, bring it back to a claustrophobic horror setting as being in the prison and everything else. That I get. I will even give Resurrection props in terms of, well, they took a swing to go a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't take that kind of a swing away from the original material when you were continuing the series like you were. Swing away, and they did, and they struck the fuck out. They dropped the ball. They did whatever you had to do. I think I made myself quite clear where I was voting in this one. Premise is not necessarily the problem with Resurrection. It's the tone and how they execute the premise.
We have that in one category.
Yes, as one category, which is why if it was just premise, I wouldn't be so vehemently passionate about it. But because the tone eliminates the premise to me, I can't help but say that by far Alien 3 had a better tone, and it had a great premise alone. I love the idea you have a religious cult full of prisoners, a prison planet of a religious cult, and that's where Ripley has to go, and that's where the alien goes. I kind of love that idea, especially the doctor, the characters that are there premise-wise. Just the setting alone is different. It's cool. I like to get away from the ship. We get a different planet this time to get into. Okay. I think I said it all in my when I couldn't hold in my anger during Matty's discussion. So I'm not going to say anymore. This is easily Alien 3 for me, if nothing else. I will say Narcolepsy loves all 4 movies, and AVP Requiem made it easier to love Resurrection 4. I will give you that after watching Resurrection.
That's a great way to look at it, Narcolepsy. That's great.
I'm sure being really lit. I'm going to do it enjoying Resurrection the first time. Yeah. After watching AVP Requiem, I would actually like Resurrection more as well. Maybe if I'd watched AVP Requiem before I did this show.
I was a little lit when I watched it for the first time. Not gonna lie.
Okay. All right. Let's move on before I destroy something. We'll move on to the final category. Better rewatchability. I'm almost terrified to think what we're going to have here.
Shall I just get out of the way?
Yeah, get out of the way, Matty.
This is one of those movies that I'm going to go... because I've only seen it the one time. In a couple years' time, I'm probably going to be like, was it as bad as I thought it was? Was it as terrible as I thought it was? And I'm going to go back and watch Alien Resurrection just out of curiosity. Alien 3, I'm probably going to be like, I'll watch 1 and 2, skip 3 and rewatch Resurrection.
Shut the fuck up. Sorry.
Oh, he took the bait.
I did take the bait. If you're going to watch an Alien series and Alien 3 are going to skip 4 Resurrection, that's just irredeemable. Sorry,
I'm not going to. But obviously, if I'm a completionist, if I'm doing a rewatch, I have to watch all of it. But
fair, good.
But yeah, I'm gonna go back. If say you're with someone and they're like, oh, what movie do you want to fancy rewatching? What's a movie that you haven't watched in ages? You rewatch? I kind of fancy watching Alien Resurrection just out of curiosity.
Oh God. All right, Jarvi. Either put me out of my misery or save me, or I don't know what we're gonna do here, but
I'm in the opposite direction from Matty, with the fact that if I had to rewatch Resurrection, which I totally would, it was to hate watch it. It is to hate watch it because it was so god awful that I actually started having fun when I was 5 whiskey sours in. I think Alien 3. There's no argument here that Alien 3 quality-wise is the superior movie, but I think Alien 3 is more of a one-time watch. It ends with a cliffhanger. It ends with Ripley, spoiler alert, killing herself. So I don't even consider Resurrection as a continuation of the Ripley storyline. I feel like Alien 3 sort of wrapped it up. Sure, they're bringing back Sigourney Weaver, but I think it's a completely different character. It's sort of, in my mind, it doesn't even exist in the same universe. So yeah, I would rather watch hate watch Resurrection than Alien 3, because Alien 3 was a drag to get through. A better movie, but I'm rewatching Resurrection. I'm sorry. Justice has been served.
I told you I'd find a way. Wow, he threw off the queen hat.
I've never seen that before.
I've never seen Paul this pissed.
You're both fired. You're both fired. I don't even know how to explain myself other than to say
I told you these categories don't do justice to how good both these films are. But if we're going category by category, this is how it is, man.
You guys set the categories on this one. I was away. I'm just going by what you guys picked.
Well, that's true.
I will only watch Resurrection again if I'm watching the entire Alien saga. And even then, I'll probably put it on while I go to sleep.
Wouldn't you want to watch it with me and Matty? Just like we're just like fucking hate watching the movie
can you
and like
imagine
laughing
a class
at
action
it.
commentary version?
Yeah, we're just like laughing at it. So how bad it is.
Yeah.
I would maybe do that only because I'm hoping that I could teach you better. I'm hoping that I could educate you more.
We have to bring if we do that, if we do like a class action commentary, we have to bring PJ in
because I need some backup, obviously, at this point. This is easily Alien 3 for me. Alien 3 is actually a good movie. So beyond that, that's the only reason why I didn't watch it.
It is a good movie.
And I can't watch. I did not like anything about Resurrection except for Red Dwarf. Red Dwarf might be the only reason I really would decide to watch it again, maybe outside of it. But class action live watch along, that could happen. Maybe that's what we'll do at some point.
The first one is Alien Resurrection. Second one is Moonfall.
Okay. That's it. We're done. This category. Let's. Okay, it's over. It is over. The whole thing is over. I can't believe I'm fucking saying this.
Before you read out the result, which one are you more pissed with? Me with Alien Resurrection, or Jarvi with Henry Cavill?
Well, I went with Resurrection in this one as well.
I think it's Jarvi's fault for Resurrection as well. That's the problem. Jarvi, I'm more pissed at.
Oh man,
I was prepared for you, Matty. After you had set it up, you were preparing me a little bit. You kind of had this whole idea. I'm like, okay, I'm going to prepare. Jarvi is the one who took the knife right in my back. Like he actually the alien chest burst in Resurrection with the knife. That's what happened. That is what happened. Reefism is correct. I need a deep tissue massage to release this tension at this point. I need to do something. I don't know.
You do yoga.
I
find your inner peace.
This fucking match.
What's the score? Come on, read it out.
9-7. It's Alien fucking Resurrection.
No way.
What'd I tell you?
I agree with this shouldn't be happening, but it's the categories. Alien 3 is the better movie.
We have a plan. We have a plan for one of our future episodes that I really wish could happen right now. Really, really wish could happen right now. And a couple of weeks time.
Okay.
Don't do it.
No, I'm not.
Do it now.
In a couple of weeks time, you will understand what I'm saying now. But I'm just putting it on record right now that I wish that we could have done it for this episode.
Let's just say in a couple of weeks, you guys are in for a real. If you thought this was entertaining, you're in for a real treat.
All right, that's it. We're done. I can't talk about this anymore.
Wait, hold on. Did you even give your pick for?
I think I said rewatch. Yes, rewatchability. I said it's like an Alien 3. There's no doubt about it. I stopped, but it was pretty easy.
Can I just state for the record, I actually think Alien 3 is a better movie.
Good.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
But hey, the categories decide. We gotta go by the court of law here, guys.
I know. I'm declaring a mistrial.
You can hold me in contempt.
Fine. We got a couple of great episodes coming up next week. I will also be on Tuesday. The next couple of weeks will be on Tuesdays, and maybe potentially it might be a big permanent move to Tuesdays due to an upcoming additional show of the network we'll talk about in a second. I'll give you the schedule since we actually have this already set in place. Unlike us, usually we take a long time to discuss what we're doing. Next week, we will continue and finish our Alien journey. We are not doing Alien versus Predator versus Alien versus Predator and Requiem because we are sticking only to the pure Alien movies. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. So we're going to go on to have Prometheus face Alien Covenant.
I love this so much.
I am definitely looking forward to this. And
I need to rewatch Prometheus because the first time it didn't hit me, but I've only watched it once. So
it's a phenomenal movie.
And Covenant keeps getting better and better with each rewatch. Covenant is a 4 out of 5 movie for me now.
Okay.
It's a 4 out of 5.
Wow.
It started off as 3. So it went up half a point and now another half a point. Although Prometheus is one of my all-time favorite sci-fi movies.
I definitely rewatched Prometheus a bunch more than I have Covenant. I think I've only rewatched Covenant maybe one time since it came out on home media. So I'm definitely interested in giving it another shot. The week after that, we will be doing one of Jarvi's a dream match for Jarvi, and hopefully PJ will be nowhere near the chat at this point.
Keep that fucker out.
Avatar versus
I might take
Avatar 2. I can take that week off. We'll put PJ on as a host. Avatar versus Avatar 2. That'll be PJ's worst nightmare. And then week after that, we are going to do even though it's after Christmas, we're going to do our Christmas episode. And we're putting up 2 iconic Christmas movies up against each other. Some of the best Christmas movies I've ever seen in my life. They're always on rewatch for me around Christmas time. The 2 solid Christmas movies to watch and to put on trial against each other. Die Hard versus Lethal Weapon.
Mel Gibson versus Bruce fucking Willis.
So we're going to put those on trial.
I've watched a movie. While I was on my trip recently, I watched a Bruce Willis movie. I can't remember for the life of me what it was called.
Rogue something?
It was a new one. It was one where a guy tries to murder his kid, tries to murder him and ends up shooting at his daughter or something. I can't remember what it was called. I have to find it, but it was actually pretty bad, but pretty good.
Well, unfortunately, the sad thing that Bruce Willis is very given, and now he's doing everything he can to get some payback for pay for his kids and everything else, to make them set up for life. So I have a hard time watching his movies nowadays, knowing that, because I've heard basically he can't even act, he can't even do much with it.
Oh, so. No. I could definitely tell that this was maybe he shot this in his back garden and they superimposed him in kind of a deal.
Right.
It was actually fairly entertaining. I actually kind of liked it.
All right.
I don't know what it was called.
All right. Well, while you're looking that up,
wrong place. That's it. Wrong place.
Okay. All right. Fair. Okay. Well, we got a couple of things I just want to throw out there. Of course, I want to, if you like I said, subscribe, comment. It helps us out a lot. Or you want to help us out more, join the Patreon at patreon.com/BLD Got a great chat there. I'm going to be putting forth another hangout soon, probably this month. And do some other additional content as we come up. Maybe we'll do a class action watch along as part of that Patreon content. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll see. We'll have to see what happens. But also I want to shout out some special patrons. We got Danielle Ramirez, Brandon Buckingham, Brady Parker, Jeff Alterman, John Lestrina, Kelly W. and Pardis Jessa Dason. Could not do it without you guys. You help keep the lights on. I really appreciate you. And of course, stay tuned for all the shows on the network. We have every week Class Action, which will probably be a Tuesday thing from now on. I'll let you know when that's definitively locked in place. We have Crown Jewels, which I do comes out every Friday. This week we are talking about Tenement Funster, which is the first of the Roger Taylor-led tracks on Sheer Heart Attack. I do love this song a lot. It's quite a big, simple rock and roll song for Queen, who usually does usually does very complex stuff. This is much more of a simple, youthful rebellion kind of song. I do love that. And Two Mediocre White Dudes on Film, which we are doing the Final Destination series. We are releasing Final Destination Part 2 on tomorrow, or I'm sorry, on Thursday they'll come out. I'm used to saying tomorrow because we usually are on Wednesdays. So Thursday you'll get that episode, and that was a fun episode. We had a great time rewatching that one, and I actually appreciated it. I'll even give you a little spoiler. I appreciated it more than the first one, so that should be a lot of fun there. We're going to finish the Final Destination series, and we also might be doing our special Christmas episode there as well, but I'll let you know more about that when we have more details to have. And finally, the new thing I want to say is I'm wearing a shirt that was actually very apt for this announcement. Matty Gunner and I will be returning to a galaxy far, far away, starting in January for the Bad Batch Season 2, and then moving forward, we are going to be doing Star Wars again. I will not take back the Scoundrels of the Force name. I did let it go.
Can we get sued for you wearing that T-shirt as that like bootleg Scoundrels Inc. merch?
Oh no! I'm the OG. I own the patent still, so we're going to keep it.
You sold it.
I sold the rights to use the name, not to the old merchandise.
Okay.
So,
but shout out to Scoundrels Inc. We love them. Go watch them. They're incredible. But we will be back. Me and Paul will be back in time for Bad Batch Season 2 in January with a brand new Star Wars show. We love talking about Star Wars with each other. We may have some guests here and there. Maybe we'll try and force Jarvi to watch some animated Star Wars.
Oh, I'll definitely watch the Bad Batch.
Nice. So
sure.
We'll have some people on left and right. We'll also have some more people on. We do love our Star Wars community of podcasts. Matty and I have listened to a lot of them recently, Force Center with Ken Knapsack and Joseph Scrimshaw, the aforementioned Scoundrels Inc., the Resistance broadcast with John Hoey and company, and of course, Star Wars Explained with Alex Damon and Molly Damon. A lot of great Star Wars people in this community. We're just going to add our voice to it because we all love Star Wars and we love talking Star Wars. So that's it for now. Until next time, we have our victor, unfortunately.
I still can't believe it, though.
Who was it, Paul?
The winner of this match was